Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Hear, O Israel, Adonai is our God, Adonai is one. Baruch Shem Kavod Malchuto Me'olam Vayed. Blessed is God's glorious kingdom forever and ever. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha. V'chol labacha, v'chol nafshecha, v'chol me'odecha. Ve'yu haverim ha'ela asher enochi mitztacha hayom al levavecha. V'neshatam levanecha, v'debarta bam. V'shivtecha v'veitecha, v'leftecha v'derech, v'shaftecha v'punecha. V'shatam leo ha'yadecha, v'hayu v'totefot bein inecha. V'uchtavtam al mazizot, v'hetecha v'ish irecha. You shall love the Lord your God with all your mind, with all your strength, and with all your being. Set these words which I command you upon this day upon your heart. Teach them faithfully to your children. Speak of them in your home and on your way, when you lie down and when you rise up. Bind them for a sign upon your hand. Let them be a symbol before your eyes. Inscribe them on the doorposts of your house and on your gates. Be mindful of all my mitzvah and do them. So shall you consecrate yourselves to your God. I, the Lord, am your God, who led you out of Egypt to be your God. Please be seated.
Well, my turn. Now it's time for the emet, prayer we call emet. Now, emet in Hebrew is spelled aleph, mem, and tav. And those who know Hebrew know that the aleph is the very first letter in the alphabet. Mem is right smack in the middle. You know where I'm going here, right? And tav is the very last. So what does that mean? God is everything. God is true or truth. Okay, that's what emet means, true or truth. So what it means is that the entire Hebrew alphabet is condensed in that one prayer, that God is true. Or, to put it another way, you've got to have faith. Okay? So, if you'll join responsively with me, as a matter of truth and of faith, we proclaim that Adonai is our God, and there is none else. And we are Israel, God's people.
God is our sovereign
God has done great things and countless wonders that surpass our understanding. You have given us life. We have not stumbled.
God has given us miracles to overcome Pharaoh, signs and wonders in the land of Egypt, and from their midst Israel was brought to eternal freedom.
When the children of Israel witnessed the divine power, they extolled God, gave thanks, and I forgot to come, and accepted God's dominion.
We learn from God's righteousness means time and repentance, to celebrate His power and makes our faith more clear.
Who is like you, God, among the heavenly powers? Who is like you, majestic in holiness, awesome in praise, doing wonders? Your children beheld your majesty as you split the sea before Moses. This is my God, they exclaimed and said. God will reign forever and ever. Thus it is said, God delivered Jacob and redeemed him from the hand stronger than his own. Blessed are you, God, for redeeming Israel. Baruch atah Adonai Ka'al Yisrael. Let there be a love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Eternal God, help us to walk with good companions, to live with hope in our hearts and eternity in our thoughts, that we may lie down in peace and rise up to find our hearts waiting to do your will. Baruch atah Adonai ha'ores sukkah shalom aleinu va'al kol amo Yisrael va'al. Jerusalem. Blessed Blessed are you, God, who spreads your sukkah of peace among us and among the people of Israel and on Jerusalem. The people of Israel shall keep Shabbat, observing Shabbat for the ages of covenant for all time. It is a sign for all time between me and the people of Israel. For in 6 days Adonai made heaven and earth, and on the 7th day God rested from his work and was refreshed. Please rise. Adonai, Sefateh, Tiftach, Uvi, Nagi, Teletecha. God, open up my lips, my mouth, may declare your glory.
Feel free to join us.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu, ve'Elohei Avotenu, ve'Imotenu Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, ve'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, ve'Elohei Leah, El Agadol, Amor, Bahara, El Elam, Gumil, Chasadim, Tovim, Rokonei, Akol, Zocher, Chasadim, Avot, Ve'imo, Imovi, Gula, Libnei, Benehem, Ima, Shmuel, Bahava, Melech, Ozir, Moshiach, Umakim, Baruch, Atah, Adonai, Bagim, Abraham, Mitzvah, Sarah. Atah Gibor, Leolam Adonai, Nechaye Hakol Atah, Rav Yoshua, Shechakel, Chaim Bechesed, Nechaye Hakol, Barachmi Bim, Zomech Noflim, Berofei Cholim, Umatir Asurim, Umkaim, Umudo, Ishinei Afar, Nekamocha, Walterboro, Umido Melach, Melech Memid Michael Matzmiach, Yeshua. V'nei Iman Atah L'chayo Hakol. Baruch Atah Adonai Mechaye Hakol. You are holy, your name is holy, and those who are holy praise you every day. Blessed are you, the holy God. Baruch Atah Adonai Ha'el HaKadosh. Please be seated.
Chaye Sarah. I call it boy meets girl, they get married and live happily ever after. In this week's Parsha, Chaye Sarah, Abraham sends his most trusted servant to find Isaac a wife. Isaac sends his servant back to Nahor to find Isaac's wife with a test. The servant goes to the well with 10 camels and asks Rebekah for some water. Not only does she get the servant water, but she volunteers to water the camels herself. I mean, that's no easy task back then. I doubt it's any easier now. The servant is thrilled. The servant then asks for a bed for the night, and Rebekah takes him home. He meets and asks her father, Bethuel, and her brother Laban for permission to take Rebekah back with him to become Isaac's wife. It's okay with Bethuel, and it's okay with Laban, but did anybody ask Rebekah? Well, they did ask Rebekah, and Rebekah agrees. The servant gives Rebekah and her mother all kinds of precious jewels, and the deal is done. Okay? Now, what this is referring to is if you look at an Orthodox ketubah, ketubah means marriage contract or marriage agreement. What is written in there is the bride's family gave 2 camels, 1 horse, 3 things of shekels, whatever, okay? And then, and yes, it's still used on occasion, okay? And then it says the wife will promises, you've heard this before, the wife promises to worship her husband and that. He's never wrong, all that, okay? All that stuff that most of you are looking at me going, ew. Okay. All right, so, it's okay. Now, Abraham's servant and Rebekah ride to the Negev where Isaac lives, and as they're riding into Isaac's camp, Rebekah sees Isaac and puts a veil over her face, and Isaac sees Rebekah for the very first time. Well, that's very romantic, isn't it? So what's really going on here? Okay? First, the story of Rebecca at the well teaches us about kindness and hospitality, an important and recurring theme. This is especially important in today's world, where we find ourselves searching. We're searching for the cure of COVID, we're searching for the cure of cancer, and we're still searching for how to remain civil with our neighbors when we disagree. And of course, how not to use up our earth. We call that tikkun olam, repair of the earth, the repair of the world. This is where the custom of a bride covering her face with a veil comes from. Our scholar Rashi said that when the groom lifts the veil, he looks on his bride as if it is for the very first time they met. Well, back in the day, it was. Back in our history, the bride and groom had no say, no opinion on who or when they would marry. It was basically a business transaction between the parents. Today, our couples date and court and do everything on their own time. And at least but not last. Because of this parsha, it is required to ask the woman if she wants to marry. I mean, really, is it that tough? Do you want to do this? Rebecca was the first woman asked if she wanted to marry. Call it the precursor to the women's lib movement. And that's why I say boy meets girl, they get married, and live happily ever after. You didn't think I was really going to do it, did you?
No, I didn't.
You did? Okay. Go for it.
Silly.
Finish it.
בימים ומינו ביקובצו, מסולת המנחה, ומשמנה ואת כל הבונה אשר על המנחה. והקטיר המזבח ריח, ניחוח אזכרתה לאדוני. והמטה רת מימינה יאכלוה, אהרון ובניו לזו, תאכל במקום קדוש, בחצר או המועד יאכלוה. לא תאפה חמץ חלקם, נתתי אותה מאשי קודש. קודשים הם כחטאת וחת השם. כל זכר בבני אהרון יאכלנה חוב עולם לדורותיכם מאשי אדוני כל אשר ייגע. להם יקדש.
Excellent. Do you need a blessing after?
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, אשר נתן לנו תורה אמת וחיי עולם נטע בוטחים. ברוך אתה אדוני נותן התורה.
Excellent. Okay. You guys. So, Bereshit chapter 23, Genesis 23. Vayihyu chaye Sarah miyah shana ve'esrim shana ve'shava shanim shnei chaye Sarah. V'tomot Sarah b'kirat arba hi Chevron ba'eretz Kinaan v'yavo Abraham mispad v'Sarah v'livkota. Vayakom Avraham ma'al panei mitu v'daber el b'nei chet lemor. Ger vet toshav anuchet machem tinu. Li achu zat ki'av machem v'ek bera meti milfanai. Vayanu v'nei Chet et Abraham lemor lo, Shemo enu an Adonai nesei Elohim ata bituchenu, b'mivchar kivarenu, kivar et metecha, ish memenu et kivro lo yichli, mimcha migvor mitecha. Before we put the Torah away, anybody want to see? Anybody want to see what he just read? Come on up. Come on up. Come on up.
Y'all are serious? Go ahead.
Come on
Go
up.
ahead.
Can you do that?
Come on.
He did that. He did that. It's not hard to do. It is hard to do.
It's not amazing. It is. That's a read it. Give your name. Give your name. I've never seen it like that.
He did that.
That is great.